they say all men are created equal.
Shock Master!
I pull out the Glock.
Full of suffering succotash, son.
One of your nuts is hanging out of your shorts.
Real glass!
You have a father, but your father's dead.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Too Sweet podcast, except unfortunately yet again it's the One Sweet podcast because Estelle isn't here this week. She's got tonsillitis, she's not very well. So please send all your healing vibes to Estelle. Estelle, get better soon, we miss you. But yeah, so just me, just Lucy this week, but I'll do my very best to give a balanced and fair review of Dynamite. Oh, that was an emotional one, wasn't it? Another one, they're just going hard on us recently, like just taking out our hearts and just stamping on them a bit. God. But we'll get into all that. Just before I start the review, I just wanted to say, I mean, we said it last week, but again, just a really big thank you for all the support we've been getting recently. Really appreciate it. I mean, only 2 weeks ago, we were super excited because we were about to hit 100 subs, and now we're almost at 150. It's crazy. And yeah, so much support on our Forbidden Door video and last week's Dynamite review as well. So thank you so much. So grateful. Thank you to all the new people and also you guys who've been here from the start. Really appreciate all the support. As always, please let us know your thoughts. If you think of any ways that we can improve the content you want to see, topics you want us to talk about. Love to get into conversations with you guys in the comments. And also, if you can let us know like how you found us, that'd be so interesting. Because we're always really curious to know, and it's always really interesting when we see this spike of engagement. Yeah, it'd be super interesting to know how you found us. We have quite recently started posting on our TikTok. That's at Too Sweet on TikTok. So if you want to go follow that, please do. If you've come from TikTok, please let us know. But yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy today's Dynamite review. So let's go straight into it then. Dynamite opened up this week with the MJF video package, and he was on Collision this past weekend, and I didn't watch the full show, but I did watch the highlights on YouTube, and yeah, his promo on Collision was amazing. This video package was basically just summarizing what he said in that video package. He rationalized why he turned on Daniel Garcia, and he blamed the fans for it. You know, he said that well, it was interesting actually. On Collision he played like a replay of his promo ages ago where he was talking about his ADHD and his rejection sensitivity disorder. So that providing the context for it made it make a lot of sense, because he was talking about how the fans were cheering others on while he was away, cheering on Swerve and also Ospreay, who quickly became the target of this promo. So yeah, that's his rejection sensitivity disorder kicking in. He's gutted that the fans cheering these other people while he's away, and also cheering Daniel Garcia, so that's why he turned on Garcia. So yeah, this video package was great just for reminding people who might not have caught Collision like what happened there. So yeah, him versus Ospreay is pretty much the direction we're going in for All In, which was solidified in the segment after this, which was an Ospreay promo. Makes complete sense why you'd turn MJF mega heel, because obviously if you want them two to face off at Wembley, Ospreay's going to get cheered there, so you might as well take full advantage of that, have MJF be the ultimate bad guy. And yeah, I'm here for it. I'm here for that match. I can't wait. I really hope we do get that at Wembley, because later on there was another little announcement that maybe throws that into doubt a little bit, but we'll get into that. So anyway, yeah, so then like I mentioned, Ospreay then went into a promo. He said that Daniel Garcia is sitting at home with no feeling in his arms after what MJF did when he, pile driven through the bloody off the top rope. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, and Ospreay just basically cut a promo on MJF, shaming him for what he did to Garcia. It wasn't a bad promo, to be fair. I've been critical of Ospreay's promo skills in the past. Not that I could do any better, they're just personally not to my taste, which is absolutely fine. But this one was good. I did quite enjoy it. He said one of the interesting things I thought that he said was, I represent the foundation of this place, referring to AEW, which I thought was quite funny that he's saying this against MJF, considering that MJF has been there from the beginning and Ospreay hasn't, but whatever. Um, yeah, so then he called out MJF. His music played, but he didn't come out. And then he was on the Tron, like doing an obviously pre-recorded video. And can I just say, these wind me up because it's always clearly pre-recorded, and then they go like this, "Hey, up here," and it's like, "Hey, yeah, I'm up here." Like that delay, and the guy in the ring is already looking, and it's just like you don't need to do this whole spiel of, "I'm up here, come on, look at me up here," but they're already looking. Anyway, that's besides the point. That really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but that is one of these things in wrestling that really gets on my nerves. Nonetheless, yeah. So MJF basically clapped back at Ospreay with a typically brilliant MJF promo. He said, "I don't have to murder myself to get them interested in me. I just have to speak," referring to the fans. And I was like, yeah, fair enough, good point. And then he said, "They're going to move on and call the next flippy guy the best in the world." Sick burn. And then he basically said, "I'm timeless. Um, Once in a generation talent." Typical MJF stuff, whilst drinking what was definitely Ribena out of a wine glass. And then, quite surprisingly, he then challenged Ospreay for the championship next week on Dynamite. Because obviously Max did the whole thing of, well, these dirty people in Calgary don't deserve to have me in the ring this week, but I'll see you next week. So that match has actually been set now. Ospreay versus MJF next week on Dynamite. So that's a spicy one. I can't wait for that. Interested to see where they go with this because I really want to see these two face off at Wembley. I think they're going to go down that direction because, of course, it's Ospreay, it's the UK. They want to put him on a huge stage. Um, so yeah, probably some sort of shenanigans making that match perhaps an unfair loss for whoever loses. And you got to think that Ospreay's not going to drop the championship to Max, but um, so then how's that going to play out in terms of keeping the storyline going? I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited. I think it'll be obviously it's going to be a good match. If it goes ahead, maybe it won't. I mean, it definitely probably will because they've advertised it, but I'm anticipating some sort of shenanigans around it. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, this was a good segment, and it basically just really heightens this feud. Again, like I said before, really justifies, well, not necessarily justifies like nearly killing a man in the ring, but gives reason to why MJF did what he did. Um, I wonder how Garcia is going to come into this. I know I mentioned last week the potential of a triple threat involving him at All In. They're really playing into the whole like he's injured, he can't be here sort of thing. MJF has injured him so badly, but he's got to come back into this somehow, I think. So keeping an open mind, very happy, enjoying this so far. I love MJF, even as a heel. Even as a heel, he's one of the best heels to ever do it. So yeah, that was that. And then we swiftly moved along to Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page in the Owen Hart Tournament final. Now, yeah, wow, what a match. This could have been the main event for sure, but it wasn't. That went to the women, which I'm very happy about. But so this was like the highest octane possible opening match for Dynamite that you can basically get. So during this match, we had Jeff Jarrett up on the stage by the cup. The reason for this being that on Collision we had in the semi-final Hangman versus Jay White. Obviously, a great match as you would expect. The referee was down at one point, and Hangman was using his belt as a weapon, and Jeff Jarrett intervened to stop him. So yeah, carrying on that story from the when Hangman absolutely brutalized Jeff Jarrett in that match that they had in the tournament. So And then Christian Cage buddy got involved and speared Jay White. When a new referee came out, he was down, and then yeah, he speared White, meaning that Hangman could hit the buckshot for the win. So that was the backstory to that. So yeah, we had Jeff Jarrett sort of lurking in the background of this one. Um, yeah, and he was the special enforcer of this match to ensure that nothing like that, what we saw in the other round with Hangman using his weapons, would happen again. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, and I think it was on Collision, or I might have just seen it on social media or something. Hangman cut a promo shortly after Dynamite last week, basically saying, like, explaining his actions, saying that, Swerve invaded his bloody home and stuff, only for these people to chant "Thank you, Swerve," and he is bitter as fuck about that, as you would be. And yeah, what was really interesting about this was that, you have the two tunnels now on Dynamite again. You've got the face tunnel, the heel tunnel. Um, Hangman came out the face side, which is stage right. Um, and Jeff Jarrett was like waiting for him to come out the other side, and he didn't. He came out the face side. So that's really funny, and I think it's because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong in his head. He is a face. He's not done anything wrong. So yeah, and as Hangman walked past Jeff Jarrett, he spat at him. Disgustingly disrespectful. Estelle loves Jeff Jarrett, so I'm sure she's feeling pretty conflicted about these two going at it. Um, oh, and it was interesting as well. At this point, they explained why we had Nigel McGuinness on commentary, not Taz. And apparently, Taz was banned from the venue, had to go back to the hotel because of Jericho and the Elite. So yeah, we had Nigel McGuinness on commentary for tonight. He was great, as he always is, and it was really nice to have him on commentary for this match, of course, with Danielson in it. Because them two have got beef, of course. So yeah, we had Danielson bleeding not long into the match. I mean, this was a really great and brutal match. You're playing on the fact that Hangman's digging deep. He's tapping into his dark side. He was really targeting Brian's neck. Just really going in. He did a German suplex from the top rope. Absolutely brutal looking. Another thing that he did was he ripped the cover off the turnbuckle, slammed Brian into it. Just a whole lot of brutal stuff. And as if that wasn't enough, he then followed that up with a nasty tombstone pile driver, which, it doesn't matter how many times you do this sort of thing on Brian, in my opinion, you just. Sorry, I just realised my microphone plugged in. The the wire must have fell out. Sorry if the audio quality has been shit for the last couple of minutes. But yeah, no matter how many times we see Brian's neck being targeted, still absolutely brutal every time, and it still makes you wince. And but despite all of this, Brian kept on fighting back, as he does, trademark sort of resilience, determination. Hangman was perhaps going for like a moonsault or something on the top rope. Brian pushed him off, and he landed on the apron. And then Brian came flying in with a springboard all the way to the outside. It was kind of like Brian was suddenly like, shit, right, I need to kick it up a notch. This is a different Hangman Page that I'm used to. But then when they were out on the floor, Hangman hit an inverted pile driver onto Brian. Oh, fucking brutal. Absolutely brutal. I mean, Jesus Christ. So then we had like a big thing of can he get back into the ring? And of course, he made it in on 9, so only just. Hang on, I've just skipped ahead. Before all of this, Jarrett had to get involved because Hangman was going for even more offense, like unnecessarily. Jeff Jarrett had to kind of tell him to stop, step in a bit. But yeah, as I say, Brian managed to get back inside the ring, and then he then went for the psycho knee, but then Adam Page moved out the way, meaning he hit the ref. So then we had a bit of deja vu from Adam Page's last match in this tournament. He got his belt off and he started using that as whipping him with it. He was about to start choking Danielson out, and Jeff Jarrett stopped him. And but Hangman wasn't happy, obviously. But then Jeff Jarrett revealed that he had a referee shirt on underneath his tank top, so he was now the official in this match. Um, Hangman was fuming. Brian rolled him up. I thought that was it, but it wasn't. Um, Brian then got him in the label lock, and again, like I say, I thought it was it. This was brutal, like back and forth, especially in these closing moments. It was like absolutely anyone's sort of match for the taking. Um, so yeah, Hangman reversed the label lock. Eventually got him up for the dead eye. Brian somehow kicked out. And then Hangman got him up into a really brutal submission hold. He looked like he was dead. He was pretty much passed out. Jeff Jarrett did the classic, the arm thing to check if he was out of it, but obviously he was still in it. And then he basically, using Hangman's all of his momentum against him, rolled him up and did mid so he couldn't escape, and he picked up the win. 1, 2, 3, shoulders were down. Hangman was kicking, he was flailing, but he was still down. So yeah, I think this speaks to everything what me and Estelle have been talking about for the past few weeks in the tournament, where it's like you win any way that you can. You pick up the win by any means necessary. If that's with a roll up, you have to take it. You have to take that chance. So I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a perfect ending. But it was hard fought and well deserved from Brian, even though Hangman did, to be honest, have the upper hand for most of the match. So he's still looking like the absolute monster that he has been since he's come back. But yeah, I'm glad that Brian won. I'm glad that Brian won, because now we get Swerve versus Brian at Wembley at All In, and man, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I've just been texting Estelle before I started filming this. We're both so excited for this. I said, how iconic would it be if we get to see CM Punk's last match in AEW, and also Brian Danielson's last match? Obviously, yeah, we both said like we hope he comes back, but that would be an iconic thing. But yeah, it's just, Brian he's doing it all. He knows that he's not got long left in the ring. So it's great to see this. And then Martha Hart presented the trophy to him, which was very special, very nice. But then after that, Swerve then came out. That's when their match was officially announced, and Swerve cut a promo. So yeah, we pretty swiftly moving into this. And Swerve said he's joining Team AEW for Blood and Guts. So interesting. Then he also said that he wanted to face Okada next week on Dynamite. And then later on in the night, it was confirmed we're going to have champion versus champion next week, Okada versus Swerve. I mean, sure, go off. Swerve has got so much on his plate at the moment, but Lord, okay. I guess the main takeaway from this is I'm glad that Brian won the tournament. I thought that he deserved it. Not that Hangman doesn't, but I think that his story, the way he's going, sort of lends itself. Obviously, if he won, he'd be facing Swerve, and they'd get their rematch and maybe get his revenge, which would be awesome. But I think he's just come back. He's so fresh. We need to just see him doing something a bit different, rather than winning the tournament. I don't know. To me, it just feels more natural to have Brian win it at this point. So yeah, I was really happy to see him win it. Great match. What a way to kick off Dynamite. I mean, that's like a pay-per-view level match on its own. So yeah, sign of things to come with that one. After that, we had Mariah May versus Willow Nightingale video package for their match later on in the show, which, as I mentioned, was the main event. So that was very nice. Yeah, great story that they told between them. Willow wants to prove herself, win it for a second time, whereas Willow was comparing Mariah to how she was when she first won it, like the fresh face, the newbie, the upstart. He said that's kind of what Mariah is now, which was nice comparison to make. So yeah, that was a nice video package, building up that hype for that main event. Then we had some pretty weird. Yeah, it got kind of weird for a little bit after this. Like this sort of middle section of Dynamite got pretty strange. So then what it was the Acclaimed doing a music video for some reason. Roasting the Young Bucks basically. Said that they're gonna face the Young Bucks and they're gonna beat them again for the second time. They just kind of sounded like SoundCloud rappers. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Okay, whatever. I could have done without this. This could have just gone on YouTube, I think. Like, did this need airtime? I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly critical, but yeah. So nothing really note from that. I mean, one of the lines actually in the song was, "We're gonna push them back like a hairline." So that's the level of lyrical genius we're dealing with here. Moving swiftly on to something else which was really weird, which was Samoa Joe versus Chris Jericho, and this was a Calgary street fight or something, a no disqualification match, basically. Um, yeah, it's obviously Samoa Joe's fuming, looking for revenge after Jericho literally tried to murder Hook last week with the fucking firebending ass shit. Um, so I mean. I was like, oh great, a no disqualification match. We're gonna see the end of this. I don't I don't think we've seen the end of this. Basically, this was not a very good match, to be honest. I think Jericho's past his best. We all know that. Samoa Joe's a great wrestler, but I just struggled to get into this one. I think just this type of match is just like it should be exciting, it should be fun, but it wasn't really. There was a fun part in it when Joe took out Brian Keith, who's on the outside with like a suicide dive out of absolutely nowhere. Samoa Joe is amazing. Like that man can fly, especially for such a big guy. Wow. Um, After that, yeah, like I said, for this type of match, it was just weird. So we didn't have like your typical sort of weapons being used, but we did have Chris Jericho getting out some horseshoes for some fucking reason. I don't know why. He just body slammed Samoa Joe onto some horseshoes in the middle of the ring. I was just a bit like, have I missed something? I don't know why Chris Jericho would do that. Why would he use horseshoes of all things? Really, honest to God, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. I don't even feel like they'd hurt all that much. Like, yeah, I know it's like iron or steel or whatever, but I don't know. Answer on a postcard, please. Does it hurt being slammed onto some horseshoes? Um, yeah, and then not long after that, Jericho had Joe in the walls of Jericho for an unreasonably long time. I think what happened was he put it in during the commercial break, and then he had to keep it on like until they came back from the commercials, to give it that hot start when they came back from the break. But he was just really weird. Joe was just in the walls of Jericho for like 3 minutes. I don't know exactly how long it was, but it felt sort of around 3 minutes ish. Um, he wasn't tapping. He couldn't reach the ropes for a rope break because it was no DQ match. This is the Walls of Jericho that's like won world championships in Chris Jericho's very long career. And Joe was basically just no selling it. I mean, he looked like he was in pain. He wasn't no selling it, but he wasn't tapping out. He was just putting up with it for ages. And then as soon as they came back from break, um, amazingly, he was then able to escape. So yeah, that was a bit daft to me. And then basically they started fighting all around the arena. Of course, no count outs, whatever. Make the most of that. Give the people who haven't got front row seats their money's worth. Fighting among the crowd. Then they went backstage, and Brian. Who am I talking about? I'm thinking about Brian Keith. That's why. Joe had Chris in the clutch, and obviously Jericho was fading, and then Big Bill turned out of nowhere and came out over like a little side door, fucking clattered Joe, and then this was when Jericho obviously took the upper hand in the numbers game. Brian Keith was there as well, and So yeah, what happened next was pretty goofy. Jericho found a forklift. He put Joe on the front of the forklift. Um, was driving the forklift. He had to reverse it first, and it was really painfully slowly. And then when he'd reversed enough, he then went fucking full pelt into a wall. And this wall just it wasn't like a concrete wall. It was like the thinnest wall in the world, and this forklift went straight through it with Joe on the front of it. Um, and that was the end of the match. The doctor ended the match, and someone in the background was fucking pissing themselves laughing. I don't know. It was probably Big Bill like doing a heel thing, laughing at Joe being hurt. But to me, it was really funny because it sounded like someone was genuinely just laughing their head off at how goofy and stupid this whole thing was. It kind of sounded like it was someone on commentary. But I wonder if any of you heard that person laughing as well and knows who it was, because I was like, same. I am laughing right now. Yeah, it was just daft. It's like, how did that this wall, I mean, it folded. It was made out of fucking Lego, mate. It just folded. And then apparently Joe's like, oh, he was being stretched into a fucking ambulance, like not long after this, like, okay, whatever. Also, Colt Cabana was there for some reason. Wow, why? I don't know. Why was he doing there? What's this got to do? I don't bloody well know. So that was that weird match out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, it's just one of them things, isn't it? Oh, give him a gimmick match. Oh yeah, it's like fun, a bit of fun on the card, gimmick match. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't a good match. It gave me a laugh though. That's yeah, that's about the only nice thing I can say about it. I love Samoa Joe. He deserves better than this feud by now. I think we could move swiftly along. But based on this, it kind of feels like they're just gonna keep it going because now Hook's gonna want revenge for what he's done to Joe, probably. I don't know. Next up, we had a fatal four-way match for a chance at the international title. So this was very cool. It was between Kyle Fletcher, Ishii, Claudio Castagnoli, and Pac. Wow, just talent all around. We're dripping in talent here. It was great to see these guys in the ring, all getting their chance to shine on Dynamite. People you might not really normally see all that often on Dynamite, I don't think. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. They all had a really good chance to shine in this. And you know, sometimes when it's like with multi-man matches and they'll have two men in the ring, the other two will be sleeping on the outside or something. Um, it wasn't like that at any point in the match, really. Maybe, you know, the very beginning stages, but for the most part, it was like all four of them like mixing it up together. They're all really going at it. They're all taking any chance they can to go for a cover, to break up the cover, to hit signatures. Absolutely great. I loved it. We also had Wheeler Yuta out there supporting one of his dads, one of his many dads, Claudio, but he didn't get involved, so that was nice. Claudio, I'm wearing a King of Swing Cesaro sweater right now. I am kind of biased and I am aware of that, but it was awesome. He did a sharpshooter, great in Calgary, always going to go down well. And yeah, it was just excellent match as you would expect. In the end, we had Kyle Fletcher submitting to the Brutalizer, and Pac won. Yeah, Pac looked absolutely great in this. So that means he's got a shot at the international title. No matter who the champion's gonna be, because we have Osprey facing MJF, so it could be MJF. But we'll see. Pac did a quick promo afterwards. He said he won't be denied his Wembley moment. So, what does that mean? Are we going to see Pac fighting for the international title at Wembley instead of MJF or instead of Osprey? Who knows? So many possibilities still. I like how they're kind of laying out what it's going to be, but they're also throwing in these curveballs and things to keep it interesting. I had a random thought during this match that Pac should do a back suplex as one of his signatures, and it should be called the backpack. Just an idea. I'll give you that one for free, Pac. You can use that one if you want. Don't need to give me credit or royalties or anything. I'll let you have that one. Yeah, brilliant match. There's nothing really more for me to say on that one apart from I really liked it. And also I nearly forgot we had Don Callis on commentary, and he was saying, oh, it's all planned out. Don't worry about. I'm not worried about Will Ospreay leaving, etc., etc. Obviously he had a stake in this match with Kyle Fletcher being involved. So yeah, very cool. And I also liked how we continued the thread of Claudio and Pac facing each other in the first tournament of the Owen Hart. So yeah, this was a nice match. Really liked it. Not long after this, we then had a segment with Renee backstage, and she was trying to get an interview with Hangman, and Adam was basically just straight up ignoring her. Renee, I know how it feels. Happens to me all the time. Okay. Try to get interviews with these wrestlers. They don't want to give you the time of day. But she stuck up for herself. Good for her. Something I've never been able to do. She said, "Listen, I want you to. Don't you think you can show me some respect? Don't you think I deserve it?" And Hangman still ignored her. But good for you, Renee, Queen. Um, Hangman knocked on Okada's door. Well, he knocked on a door and then Okada walked out. And he tried to go straight in. Okada wouldn't let him. He was like, "Can I help you?" And then the EVPs came out, Matt and Nick Jackson, and they're like, hey man, what's up? Like, calm down, what's up? And Hangman just said, "I'll do it." Enough said, I'll do it. I mean, how much storytelling can you pack in one simple sentence? So yeah, the groundwork was laid there. So evidently, if you join the dots together, Hangman has found out, as we all did earlier. Did I forget to mention this? Swerve said that he was going to be on Team AEW in Blood and Guts. Oh my god, did I forget to say that? I think I did. So yeah, sorry. In Swerve's promo earlier in the night, he not only said all this stuff about all the people he's going to face, he also said that he was going to be in Team AEW for Blood and Guts. Evidently, Hangman Adam Page just heard this and thought, "I want a piece of that, mate." So then he's gone and agreed to be in Team Elite. And I want to give a shout out. I can't remember your name, I'm sorry, but there's someone in our comment section on, I think it was our last video, who predicted that this would happen. So props to you, my friend. You were absolutely right. I love it. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Hangman, he's calculated, he's twisted, he's like thinking of all the ways he can possibly wheedle his way into getting his chance at Swerve. So, means to an end, he's joining Team Elite. I can't wait to see how this is going to pan out. Such a fun story, such a fun direction for his character to go in. See, this is why I like it, that he didn't win the tournament, because now he's got to find other means to face Swerve. So awesome. So yeah, I'm rattling through this. I don't know if I'm going too fast, I'm going slow. I have no idea. Anyway, then we had Mercedes Moné doing her other championship celebration, because obviously last week she was interrupted by Britt Baker, and she opened this promo by saying thank you to the EVPs for providing her with extra security tonight. She said that she didn't want to be interrupted again, and she wasn't going to be interrupted again. So yeah, Mercedes basically cemented herself as this really delusional, cocky heel. She said, "I want to set the record straight about the past, present, and future. I am the past, present, and future," obviously referring to Britt's promo last week. And then she said, "That's because I'm the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be in Calgary." I mean, wow, lol. Obvious way to get heel heat, but if you're going to do it, might as well do it. I mean, yeah, simple heel stuff, but effective. She said that the match with Britt All In isn't going to happen, because she let alone Britt having a stroke and a herniated discs or whatever. But I would leave you for dead, bitch, was the was the line. We loving these B bombs recently, aren't we? Bloody bitch is like the worst word you can call someone in wrestling. Um, so yeah, but then obviously, as you might expect, because it is wrestling, Britt Baker did then come out and she punched a referee, she then super kicked a referee, sorry, security guard, and then these security guards basically just parted ways for. I was like, well, they're fucking shit security guards, aren't they? They can't do their fucking job right. And then she went running for Mercedes, who obviously scarpered because she's scared of Britt Baker. That's typical heel stuff. That. So yeah, I mean this was sort of like a non-segment, to be honest. Like we didn't really have any development from last week. We only had, just Mercedes reiterating stuff that we already sort of knew. I guess it's interesting that she said no to the match at All In, so we get to see the road to that match being made, how she's gonna end up maybe being manipulated into agreeing to that match or being forced into that match. But this wasn't all that really. I would have liked it if Britt had something to say, but she didn't. It was too quick, a bit undercooked for me. So yeah, a bit of criticism for me on this episode, and also like this and the main event being the only women's sections on the card. Yeah, I'm not keen on that. We could have done with a match, another women's match, I think, but I'm not complaining. We had women in the main event for sure. That's great, but if we could have had it more equal, more dotted around the card, that would have been a lot better. But it wasn't the worst. It just wasn't the best, in my opinion. But feel free to disagree. Let me know what you think. Yeah, that's just my thoughts. So then after that, we had a quick little segment. Darby Allin beating up Brandon Cutler backstage. So, and he said he's going to be back next week. Oh, which by the way is Dynamite 250, so that's fun. 250th episode of Dynamite, so probably some big stuff going down on that big milestone. Yeah, Brandon Cutler being one of the EVP's like corporate cronies or whatever. Yeah, Darby Allin was beating him up. So he's probably going to be on. Did he say no? I don't think he kind of hinted towards it, I think. But he didn't confirm it. But it sort of seems likely he's going to be on Team AEW, which I think I guessed last week. If like I think I said like if he's not injured, he probably is injured. He's gonna fucking come back anyway, even if he is injured. So that's just the type of guy Darby Allin is. So then we had the main event. It was main event time, and it was, of course, the Owen Hart tournament final with the women's. And it was Willow Nightingale versus Mariah May. Uh, yeah, I mentioned the video package before. Did a great job of building up to this. And I was so glad that this was the main event. So great to see women main event and Dynamite. Exactly what you want to see. Exactly what these two women deserve. Real standouts of the AEW women's division in their own right. Both doing like these separate storylines. So to see them like come together in this final was really cool. It was kind of like the crossover, like a crossover. It's the wrong word, isn't it? Because obviously they're in the same division. They're both fucking wrestlers, but they've both been in their own sort of world, doing their own thing, and then they come together, and it was hard to sort of predict who was going to win. I think. I guess I would have loved for Willow to do it twice, get her moment, but at the same time, it seemed like it was Mariah's time to shine as well. So yeah, definitely deserved to be the main event, and definitely lived up to the hype that showed that it was deserving of that spot. To just incredible wrestlers who are at the top of their game, both so young as well. Also shout out to Willow for her gear. It was inspired by Owen Hart when he was in the Nation of Domination. So that was really cool, really nice. Yeah, so we had these two fighting off. It was pretty back and forth. Like it wasn't easy to tell who was taking the upper hand. They were both sort of tit for tat, quite evenly matched. not the most fast-paced match in the world, but that's not to say that it wasn't good. Like I said, a really good match. Um, yeah, really enjoyed it. So towards the end, we had Stokely, where he had his hood up and we didn't realise who it was at first getting involved, and then Chris Statlander came in and got involved as well. Um, and that seemed like it was the end for Willow. Obviously not the end that we all wanted to see. Straight after that, Mariah came in with the brutal knee shot. But luckily Willow kicked out, that trademark determination of Willow. The heart. Oh, I love her. She has stolen my heart. I love her promos. They feel so real. And she's great inside the ring, and I love her energy in the ring as well. Mariah May, of course, so athletic, so talented. This felt like a career-making match for Mariah, to be completely honest. Like, she is, how old is she? Like, ridiculously young. I don't know off the top of my head, but she's on the British independent scene for a long time, and now she's just stormed into AEW. Her character work, her in-ring work has done more than enough to catapult her to this position. So yeah, back to the match anyway. Willow had Mariah up for the Death Valley Driver. Mariah reverses, incredible reversal, so quick, so clever, rolled her up for the win. And again, it's these tournament finishes, man, with the roll-ups, the quick victories. Like me and Estelle have been saying, it's makes complete sense for these types of matches. You got to do what you got to do to win. It's pretty quick, fast. It's fast paced. It's quick, and ultimately the person who outsmarts the other person is the winner. So yeah, we had Mariah winning the Owen Hart tournament, and like I said, this was career making for her. Obviously, what happened next certainly was, but I'm not like sort of even forgetting that part for a second, like just how good this match was and how much of a star she looked like doing it, and the character work and everything that she's done with Toni Storm. Perfect. Just love it. And especially because Willow immediately accepted her loss and shook Mariah's hand straight away. So she didn't even take the time to sort of mourn the loss, to sort of wallow in her own self-pity. She just straight away got straight up, shook Mariah's hand, which again speaks volumes to kind of like, it's her saying, yeah, fair, fair enough, you just beat me, fair and square, you were the better woman in this one. So then, yeah, Toni versus Mariah was then confirmed for Wembley. I can't wait. I can't wait for that. But all the more interesting considering what happened next, which I'm sure we all know about. Even if you've not watched Dynamite, I'm sure you probably heard about it. Mariah and Toni, they skipped up the stage together. Tony Schiavone was saying, "Oh, look how happy Toni is. She's the only person happier than you, Nigel," because Nigel McGuinness was fawning over Mariah. Was skipping up the ramp, and then Mariah grabbed the belt and clattered Toni Storm across the head with it. And I don't think I've never seen someone use a belt, a wrestling belt, as such an efficient weapon. Jesus Christ, Mariah May was just going to town on Toni Storm and then on Luther as well. Hit him in the head, and then later on, took him out, like sent him flying through the off the stage, like through a table, took a massive bump. Oh my God. I mean, this was shocking. This really was shocking. And I know wrestling, people turn on people all the time. We get these beatdowns, but I don't think anyone expected it. I certainly didn't. I mean, let me know if you saw this coming, but after everything that happened at Forbidden Door, and we thought that was when Mariah was going to choose, and she didn't, and it was all nice and happy. They were kissing, three-way kiss, getting a bit fruity. It's always been fruity. So for Mariah to then throw that all away in this moment, I mean, Christ alive. the blood pouring from Tony Storm, like she had a cut in her forehead. Jesus Christ. I don't even know what to say. Like, I have never been a big fan of Tony Storm. Like, for some, I don't know what it is. Like, I just never really used to like her. I used to find her quite boring. She's since like won me over, but this especially, I was surprised at how sorry I felt for her. I think, am I just, am I just being worked? Am I like just naive and soft? Because I mean, it happened when Chris turned on Willow as well. I was like, ow, that shit hurted. Like the sympathy, the deep sympathy is real. I felt so bad for Tony because she was. I mean, props to her for the way that she sort of reacted. She was crying. She looked heartbroken. She was like Mariah, no, like genuinely sounded and looked gutted, and I was like, ouch, ouch, for real, like so heart-wrenching, so emotional, so violent. Like I said, Mariah used that championship as a really effective weapon, and then not only that, she also grabbed the shoe, Tony Storm's classic, the shoe, was like digging it into her face right in front of the camera. Um, so much blood was pouring everywhere. She had Tony Storm's blood on her face, and Tony Storm was wearing this beautiful, like, wasn't like a dress really, but it had like a cloak, blood all over it. Oh my God. Honest, I just felt like so sorry for Tony. And again, like I said, it's a career making moment for Mariah because this is, it was the perfect heel turn. I mean, me and myself have just been chatting about it. Um, the way AEW has just been swerving up these storylines recently, just like throwing in these spanners, um, changing it up when you don't expect it is very effective. Very shocking. I'm here for it. I love getting worked. I love feeling things in wrestling. Um, you know, do I think I maybe it might have been more potentially more compelling if Tony had turned like at Wembley or something? Because like I think I said this last week, like she started to get jealous because Mariah's still in the spotlight. Potentially, I don't know, because this is what happened, and this was fucking epic. So we'll never know, and that's fine. I enjoyed this. Caught everyone by surprise, got everyone talking. And that's what ultimately what you want, isn't it? Um, it's gonna be strange to try and get people to boo Mariah May though at Wembley because they said this on commentary. You know, it's her hometown. I know British fans typically tend to really like Toni Storm. Um, that's going to be a weird one. So that's interesting. That's interesting to think about. But the motto of this podcast is think less, feel more. And what I'm feeling is the sympathy for Toni Storm, the hatred for Mariah May. Um, Intrigue to find out why. So they sort of tried to rationalize it on commentary. They were saying, "Oh, has she snapped? Or was she planning this all along?" So was she using Toni Storm, to get through the tournament, to get that chance to fight her? Was she helping her keep her belt so that she could fight her for it? That's compelling to think about, and that's logical. That makes sense. Like, sure, why not? I'm here for that. I'm here for that. That long-term sort of logical reason for turning on your friend. And I know, like, I don't like how I think I said this when she didn't really make a decision between Mariah and Tony and Mina. You know, they were all friends at the end. That sometimes it's because women's wrestling tends to be, you were my best friend and you betrayed me. This was sort of this. Yeah, that's a fair criticism if people want to criticize it, but it felt different to usual. Um, the delivery of it was fantastic, basically, and that's the difference. If we do a whole, she was calculating the whole time. I think that's going to work out really well. And wow, just wow, what a segment. I think I've said everything I need to say on it. I mean, let me know what you think in the comments where we're going to go story-wise from here. Really curious to know, and can't wait to watch Dynamite next week. I can't. They keep on just delivering on these shows, don't they? Last week we gave it a 9.75. I've just been chatting to Estelle and we both agree this week was a 9. Not quite as good as last week. Last week was banger after banger after banger, to quote Seamus. This week there was a lot of bangers, to be fair, but the Chris Jericho segment sadly dragged it down. I mean, Estelle said it to me just a second ago, and I was thinking it as well. It's exactly what I was gonna say. That segment sucked and it was boring. We need to go somewhere with that. No, we don't need to go somewhere with it. We just need to go nowhere. Just kill it. Just kill it. That's the ideal scenario with that. But other than that, really good matches, really great storytelling. I love storytelling in wrestling, guys. It's my favorite thing about it. It's my favorite thing about wrestling. It's just these characters, the stories. Like I said, looking forward to Dynamite next week. So yeah, I'd rate it a 9. What would you rate it? Let me know. I'd be curious to know what you think because it was an action-packed episode and there was so much going on, a lot to digest, a lot to think about as we head to All In. And I can't, again, said it a million times, can't believe how soon it is. I can't wait. Cannot wait for that. Yeah, that was Dynamite this week. That's the Dynamite review. There are a couple of bits of news I wanted to go into. Some a pretty big week in wrestling. First of all, we had the announcement at Money in the Bank last week that John Cena is retiring in 2025. So he says that next year's WrestleMania will be his last. I think he said that that might not be his last match, but it will be his last WrestleMania. So, yeah, end of an era, man. I don't know if it's just me though. I think wrestling fans are kind of desensitized to people announcing that they're retiring because they usually end up coming back. But especially because Cena's not really been a full-time wrestler for a while now. But nonetheless, sad to hear. Happy for him as well. I hope that he's going to be happy with the way that he goes out. End of an era, definitely. This man needs to find, the sort of past 15 or so years of wrestling. Certainly like mainstream wrestling, and can't deny his star power. Can't deny his influence. Yeah, I went from hating him as a kid to not minding him to now I really appreciate him. So I hope he has a good retirement run. And just on that, I wanted to say that Money in the Bank was a pretty mid pay-per-view, but the women's Money in the Bank was amazing. Such a great match. So if you're wondering whether you should watch that show or not, because I guess most people who listen to our podcast probably AEW fans, makes sense because it's all we talk about, but I do watch WWE when I get the chance, and I watch Money in the Bank, and like I said, pretty mid, but women's match is worth watching if you get the chance. That's not all the news from this week. So also, sadly, Riho has broken her arm this week on Collision. Well, last week. Yeah, she was doing a crossbody onto the floor from the ring, and she basically landed on, she hit her arm on the floor, and you could see her clutching it for the rest of the match. Fair dues to her, she wrestled the rest of the match. Unbelievable. I don't know how wrestlers do it, I honestly don't. But as soon as she finished, she was clutching her arm. Obviously, something was wrong. She's since confirmed that she's fractured. I can't remember now which bone it was, but fractured like a bone in her arm, broken her arm. So that's a real shame. I love Rio. Hate to see anyone get injured, so don't know when we're going to see Riho back in the ring. Going to be a long time. Fractures take a long time to heal, sadly. So yeah, we won't be seeing her for a while. Speaking of which, if I'm right and none of you watch WWE, you probably won't be seeing this person for a while. Stephanie Vacua has signed to WWE. That's been confirmed. She she left MML and Stardom, and she kept the belts. She didn't even drop the belts, and she didn't even lose on her way out. And then Uh, there was just this news that her contract had been terminated permanently, and then a couple like 1 day later, Shawn Michaels officially announced that she'd signed. So fucking good for you, lass. I mean, I have to be honest, facing off against Mercedes Moné in AEW, making such a big impact, being noticed, and then getting signed to WWE, good for you. Honestly, that's great. I think that's what Forbidden Door should be about, is like, I'm not saying that she wasn't a star before and that signing to WWE's made her a star, all this, but I know me and Estelle were kind of saying we don't really know that much about her before this. Afterwards we were saying that she was great, and yeah, it's apparently got her noticed and she decided to sign for WWE. Good for her. I hope that they book her right. They might not. WWE has a tendency to fuck these types of things up, but they might, if they should give her the star treatment that she deserves. Similarly to like what they did with Jade Cargill. I guess she might go to NXT first and hopefully have some good feuds there. I heard that NXT's, I can't remember what it was called now, but NXT's pay-per-view on Money in the Bank weekend was really good. I didn't have time to watch it. I watched the highlights and yeah, it was pretty good from what I saw. So I see mixed reviews about NXT. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't watch it regularly, so it's not really fair to say. But be interesting to see what she does, and if that's her decision, that's what she wants to do, it's fucking good for her. I hope she's happy and I hope she gets a lot of money. That's it's not on any other wrestling. It's not on any wrestling fans to judge. I don't think so. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably other stuff that's happened this week, but that's all the news that I wanted to talk about. And that's it. That's the Dynamite review done. That's the news done. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. Really appreciate it, and don't worry, Estelle will hopefully be back next week. If not, she'll be back very soon. Again, Estelle, sending all the healing vibes to you. Miss you, and yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave a comment, let me know, do you disagree with any of my takes? Please let me know, I'm really interested to find out. Sub if you haven't already, or if you're listening on Spotify, please give us a rate and a follow, it really helps. So yeah, and tell your friends. Anything you can do to help our little podcast would be great. Thank you so much for listening, and see you soon.
I must bid you adieu, goodbye, and good night, bye.
I wish you died in the womb!